Have you ever wondered how a massive historical text actually survives the centuries without a single letter being altered? Seriously, how does a book remain perfectly unchanged in its original form for over 1,450 years? It's a profound historical mystery, right? And the crazy thing is, the answer doesn't lie in hidden vaults or buried stone tablets. Nope, it relies on a continuous, living tradition of human memory.
Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this. According to the sources, we're looking at a truly fascinating journey today, one that bridges ancient spiritual traditions with highly practical modern learning tools. We're going to unpack the practice of Hifz, which is the memorization of the Quran. And whether you're a lifelong follower of the faith or just kind of curious about how ancient texts are preserved in our digital age, this is just an incredibly amazing system to explore.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the tradition of Hifz, who can actually memorize it, the modern online solution, evaluating an online tutor, and finally, starting your journey. Section 1. The tradition of Hifz, a living tradition. To really grasp the modern online learning tools, we first have to understand the deep roots of this practice. The sources tell us that the Holy Quran was revealed over a period of 23 years, way back in the 6th century AD. And this brilliantly illustrates a core concept. You see, unlike other ancient holy books that scholars note have lost their original forms over time, the Quran is considered to be a total miracle of preservation. Despite being revealed over 23 years, the text has remained completely unchanged. And this preservation hasn't just been on paper. It's been fundamentally maintained in the hearts and minds of the people. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the immense spiritual weight behind the practice. When someone successfully commits the entire Arabic text to memory, they earn the highly respected title of Hafizul Quran. Basically, a Hafiz is considered a lifelong guardian of the text. It's an incredibly meritorious act, carrying immense significance and honor. Section 2. Who can memorize it? Open to all ages. Now, you might look at a whole book in Arabic and think, okay, that has to be absolutely impossible for an average person. You might even think memorizing an entire book is a task reserved only for, scholars with photographic memories. But the source text points directly to this quote from Surah Al-Qamar, verse 17, "And we have indeed made the Quran easy to memorize, so is there one who would remember." For followers, this carries divine authority. It totally reassures students that the text is rhythmically and uniquely designed to be easily committed to memory. You aren't fighting the text. The text is actually built to help you remember it. So who actually achieves this? Well, the demographics are surprisingly broad. The sources note that it's incredibly common for children under 7 years old to successfully memorize the entire book, which is something practically unheard of with literally any other book in the world. But it's not just for kids. Elders, adults, and even complete beginners regularly take this on. And here's a huge point. You do not need to be a native Arabic speaker. Millions of non-Arabic speakers, using English or Urdu as their base instruction language, successfully complete their Hifz. Section 3. The modern online solution. Modern Hifz academies. Let's move to and see how this builds, because we know the tradition and we know anyone can do it. But there's a very real logistical hurdle here. What if you live in a non-Arabic speaking nation and you simply don't have physical access to a qualified teacher? Well, historically, traditional learning meant you had to study at local masjids or traditional madrasas. And if you didn't have one nearby, you were kind of out of luck. But today, modern learning has completely flipped the script. Students can now attend online academies that offer global reach, super flexible hours, and personalized one-on-one tutors. It's truly amazing. It brings a 1,450-year-old oral tradition directly into your modern living room just through an internet connection. Section 4. Evaluating an online tutor. What to look for. The internet is a huge place, right? So how do you actually find the right teacher? When evaluating a tutor, you need to look really closely at their qualifications and expertise. If you want to memorize the Quran, your teacher must actually be a Hafiz themselves. If you want to learn the precise rules of recitation, they need a degree in Tajweed. And if you want to understand the translation and context, they need a scholarly degree for tafsir. But here's a really critical point from the sources. An experienced teacher is often a much better choice than a highly qualified scholar who has literally never taught a remote class before. Experience is absolutely critical. You also really need to evaluate their teaching methodology and tech skills. Since these classes are happening remotely across the globe, communication is just everything. Your tutor absolutely must be fluent in your native instruction language, like English or Urdu, in addition to Arabic. Furthermore, they've got to be tech savvy.
I mean, an engaging teaching method doesn't work at all if the tutor constantly struggles with video calls or modern learning resources. And of course, their availability needs to be flexible enough to accommodate different time zones and our super busy modern schedules. Finally, look at trust, logistics, and reliability. You definitely want to see proven student feedback on independent platforms, like Trustpilot, for example. You should also check for an affordable pricing structure and the availability of female online tutors if that's a requirement for your family. So, the crucial point is, a trustworthy institute will almost always offer 2 to 3 free trial classes. Make absolutely sure you take advantage of these trials. It's the best way to judge the teaching methodology and build true trust before you ever commit financially. Section 5. Starting your journey. The first steps. Okay, so you found a great online tutor, you've done the trial classes, and you are officially ready to begin. What should you expect as you tie this modern advice back to its ancient spiritual foundation? Well, take a look at this number, 2.5 to 3. This represents the average number of years it takes to memorize the Quran online. It's a marathon, not a sprint, guys. While it can totally be done in a shorter period, depending on your hard work and memory, it requires real dedication. It's a daily practice of patience and persistence. And, before you even log into your online portal or open that digital textbook, the sources strongly remind students to set their spiritual intention. They recommend reading a specific dua or supplication. The translation warmly reads, "Ya Allah, open the portal of knowledge and wisdom for us, and have mercy on us, O the one who is the most honorable and glorious." It's just a really beautiful way to bring the whole narrative full circle, making sure this modern digital learning experience stays deeply grounded in a posture of spiritual humility. So here is where we're going to leave things today. You now know that this is a living tradition, preserved word for word, memory by memory. You know that it's accessible to anyone, absolutely regardless of age or language. And you have the exact checklist you need to go out and find a qualified, reliable teacher on the internet. You've got the modern digital tools, and you've got a 1,450-year-old spiritual blueprint. The only question left is, are you ready to take that first step and become a guardian of the text? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.